Welcome to the Space in Between podcast, a series where we will talk about everything and anything mental performance in a bite-sized fashion.
I'm Sienna and I'm here with Frida. We are both certified mental performance consultants from Ireland and Sweden. I'm from Ireland, Frida's from Sweden. On this podcast, we share our knowledge and passion for all things sport and performance psychology. This includes all things mindset, exercise, sport, everyday life, and insights into how we help ourselves and others with developing our mindsets.
That's it. Welcome back to another episode.
And today is actually a very special episode. It is the first episode that we are recording on a boat.
Yeah, we're on a boat.
We are currently traveling from Ireland to Spain, and it is a 27-hour boat ride, so 27 podcasts coming soon.
Imagine. My God. We're currently in our cabin because the boat is actually swaying quite a bit from side to side, so we were feeling a little unwell sitting upstairs.
Yeah, so it's just nice. We're actually laying down right now.
Yeah, I'm recording this podcast.
I'm on one side of the cabin and Frida's on the other.
We're not even looking at each other.
No. It's great. Anyway, now you have that vision of us doing this podcast.
That's actually so funny.
So
Okay,
Frida,
yeah.
what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, for some of you that remembers, we ran a half marathon. Like, I don't know, I feel like it was ages ago.
It was like 3 weeks ago.
Was it 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I feel like it was longer ago. Yeah, maybe 3 weeks ago. So really what we are going to do today is that we're going to talk about Stockholm Half Marathon, our experience, the mindset behind it, also the physical part, because obviously a massive part of it as well, but just sharing our experience and kind of how we worked through some different challenges leading up to it and also during the race itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe one of the first things we can talk about is leading up to the race, and like how the race was in general before maybe digging deeper into our personal experiences.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm very biased, but I was very excited to do Stockholm Half Marathon because one, it was gorgeous. It actually turned out to be a lovely day as well. We were a little nervous when we saw that the race was going to start at, was it 3:30?
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, around that time anyway. And the weather forecast like 2 weeks before said like 25 degrees and sun. And we were both like, oh my God, that is such a difference from Ireland and,
what we're used to.
the low teens and the cloudiness.
Yeah.
But it actually turned out to be a lovely day with, it was overcast. So that was perfect, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weather, 18 degrees, which is warm still, but way better than if it had been a really nice day with a lot of sun.
Yeah. So that was a relief.
Yeah, it really was. Because that was definitely something, I know we said we were not going to talk about this yet, but just because we're on the topic, I was actually quite nervous about that because I knew that was going to be such a different experience
Mm-hmm.
if it had been really hot and sunny.
Yeah.
But also knowing that there's nothing I can do about that, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, the real OGs will know my struggle with running in the heat.
Yes, throwback to Texas when Sienna passed out and had to go to the ER. If you don't know that story, I'll have to tell you another time. We do have a video of it on our YouTube channel though.
Yeah.
Not the passing out necessarily, but like the marathon
story
that we ran.
behind
Yeah.
it.
So that's a part of it in it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting sidetracked now. Back to the day. It was a gorgeous course. There was a lot of excitement, probably because it was later in the day as well. There was a lot of people out. And I was actually surprised by how you were never alone.
Mm.
There was constantly people around you when you were running.
Yeah. No, it was very
And
nice.
also people spectating, like.
Yeah, and it's a really beautiful course. Like, I've done Dublin, and let's
Silence.
just say that Stockholm had much better views to keep you entertained while you were running.
Yeah, it really was a gorgeous course. But I am also, like I said, very biased. I love Stockholm, beautiful city.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, that was a great experience. And like, okay, another crazy thing that happened before the half marathon, we went to the expo to pick up all our stuff, and then we stood in line because Samsung was one of the main sponsors, and we stood in line to, I don't know, do this health shot, and then we could spin a wheel and we could win something.
Oh, that's right.
And Sienna spun the wheel and she won these brand new Samsung Galaxy Pro Buds or whatever they were called.
Yeah, the newest version.
It was literally the top price of this spin wheel thingy.
Yeah.
We were both like, what is going on? I can't believe you just won a pair of headphones for like 200 euros or something, whatever they were.
Yeah, they were like the newest version
Yeah.
of the Galaxy Buds.
I just want you all to know that I have stolen them because I have a Samsung phone. They're great.
Yeah,
Love
and
them.
also my ears had like a weird shape, so whenever I try to wear the
Oh yeah, they
in-ear
fall out.
buds, they just fall out all the time. Anyone else have that experience?
Guess. Anyway, we're so like all over the shop with this one now. Will we get into the nitty gritty maybe?
Yes, back to our own psychological experiences.
Yeah, the reason why you're here, the psychological part, right?
Yeah, I think for me going into the race, there was like no pressure, nothing attached to it. Like I had no emotional investment in the outcome of my race. Like I had an idea that I could do around 2 hours and 10 minutes, but like I also wasn't really sure. And then like that was kind of nice, you know, going into the race. And like that's something I like about kind of my approach to running, is just like very, I don't know if unbothered is the word, but I'm like, let's just see what happens, you know, compared to like most other things. And I wouldn't say I compete in running, you know, but like
Yeah.
most other physical things that I do have a competitive element. So I quite enjoy that, like, you know, actually just being able to enjoy it without really caring what happens at the end, you know, how fast or slow I run.
Yeah, I suppose you do running for completely different reasons compared to handball, where your goal is to be, you know, one of the best.
Yeah.
And your goal for every tournament or game that you compete in is to win,
Yeah.
right? But when you run, that's a completely different thing. Like you're challenging yourself in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's physically challenging, and I think you know, obviously it is mentally challenging for me during more so than pre, you know.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty relaxed going into the run.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely felt relaxed too, going into it. But maybe tell us a little bit more about the run itself. Like, how did it start out for you? Was there any point during the run that, you know, felt really good, or maybe a point where you struggled?
Yeah, so like the first 10k of the run, I felt really good, like to the point where I was like, oh, I might be running like a touch too fast than what I can maintain for the whole race. But I also was kind of like, oh, it's feeling good. And like the course was actually nice. There was, you know, a few inclines, but it kind of felt like every time there's a little incline, there would be like a nice decline after.
Yeah.
So you kind of maybe go a bit slower up the incline, but then you're able to pick up the pace without much effort on the decline. So I was kind of letting my body like go through that. Then there was 1 kilometer, around kilometer 13 or 14, and it was like purely uphill for like a K.
Yeah, it was definitely slightly after like the halfway point.
Yeah, and
sure.
like the mistake I made there in hindsight was like I kind of kept pushing the pace on that K. And then like that was grand, but then after that K was when I really started to struggle more physically. So I was kind of able to maintain the pace, but then after that I was like, real mental battle, like I'm really struggling now. And like for about 2k I did slow down. I was going like 20 to 30 seconds slower, I think even slower than that at one point in like kilometer maybe 15, 16. And I just remember thinking like internally, you know, it doesn't matter, like you can just run slower, it's not a big deal, like, you know, nobody cares, you haven't really set a specific goal for yourself, so like it's fine. So then I kind of was plodding along for those 2k like with these thoughts, and then like I started to think, Sienna, how are you going to feel when you cross the finish line, you know? Like, how are you going to feel knowing that like you just slowed down, like you didn't even really try to push? So then I was asking myself, okay, how can I cross the finish line and be like, oh, I'm so proud of myself for like, you know, the effort that I put in during this time that I was running. So then that thought process really helped me then to pick up the pace and like finish strong, like finish at the pace I started at for the last like 3k. And then like it was tough, and I thought, oh my god, and I'm sure a lot of runners can relate to this, like I thought the last 500 meters they were the longest of my life. Like, I was just looking out for that finish line, being like, and then at one point I saw the place we started and I was like, oh my god, the finish line is right there. But then like the finish line was slightly further away.
Yeah, there was a slight incline right before.
Yeah, so you're just like, oh my god, it's never ending. So yeah, like I did have that internal struggle, but then, like I said, I felt really proud crossing the finish line. Like I had really pushed myself, and I don't think on that particular day I could have got much more out of myself.
Yeah.
Which was a really nice feeling.
Yeah, that is a nice feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually have a question for you with all of this now, and it made me think about the first marathon we ran together when you did pass out, because you know, when you were struggling, you said to yourself, well, what will make me feel proud when I cross the finish line?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how did you know you weren't gonna pass out again?
That's actually something that I did think about, especially when we were looking at it was going to be warm. Like, I won't say I was actively nervous, like, what if I pass out again? But it's definitely something that crosses my mind, considering I have had that experience. And obviously at that time, I didn't think, I'm going to pass out. I'm just going to keep pushing because, you know, I'm mentally tough and all those things.
Yeah.
But this Stockholm Half Marathon, I was really conscious of, like, first of all, before the race, like, I hydrated really well.
Yeah.
And then, like, during the race, like, every opportunity there was to take on fluids, I was really purposeful with that. I also did a good job of, I think, keeping my temperature down, because I was like pouring water all over myself every chance I had as well. Like, I would be like grabbing cups, like one on my head, drinking some, another one on my neck. And I also could tell, you know, I'm not like suffering.
Yeah.
This just feels hard. Like, my legs are tired, but I'm not like breathing hard, or like, that's the interesting thing I think with running longer distance is, like, you're not like, do you know, if you're sprinting around the pitch or the handball court, you might be like, oh my god, I'm absolutely like out of breath, I need a minute to recover here. Whereas like when you're running longer distance, you're like, I actually feel so grand, like I'm breathing fine.
Yeah.
It's just the legs. So like, that's something I was really paying attention to. I was like, okay, like my body's okay, like my legs are just tired, which is normal. So I was like, Sienna, you can move your legs faster.
Yeah.
You know?
I also feel like there's a difference between, and like we can, when we talk about my experience, we can talk about that a little bit, but there's a difference between, okay, my legs feel tired and heavy, it's hard to keep up the pace, compared to my whole body feels weak and I feel a little unwell.
Yeah.
And I can't push the pace.
Yeah, like, you know, I remember during the marathon in Texas, like, saying to you, I really want to stop. Like, I don't feel good.
I just want to say that I said, we can walk. And she
I
said
know,
no.
but me, my internal battle that time was like, no, don't be weak.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I've grown.
Yeah. So anyway, overall then, you know, listening to your body, checking in, and then also thinking, well, what will make me proud at the end of this, and that allowed you to push even when it was difficult.
Yeah. So overall, good experience. Would recommend. I feel like we had different internal processes pre-race.
Yeah.
And like different kind of targets going into it. Tell us a little bit about that, Frida.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have these like targets in my mind that I want to do. So like, I want to run a sub 2-hour half marathon, and I would like to run a sub 4-hour marathon. I don't even know where those numbers come from. I have just like decided that this is what I want to do.
But I mean, that's also a bit like every goal in life.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just the idea of, for a half, right, to run a sub 2-hour, you gotta run a pace of like 5:38 or something, 40 or something like that, to get right below 2 hours, a kilometer pace. And in my mind, when I think about running, like, that feels so fast to me.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, whoa, if I could do that for that long, for that distance, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Especially when I think back on maybe just like, I have never before considered myself being a runner. And then obviously, you know, we did the half, we did a marathon, and then have done triathlon. So like, I mean, now I consider myself a runner, right? Like, I run. But I guess it's just one of those things that if I could do that, it's like, oh, that's pretty savage that I was able to train and achieve that thing.
Yeah, I mean,
That,
it's
that
also,
maybe when I was younger I thought I could never do, but
Yeah.
I believe that I'm capable of doing that if I train. Like,
yeah, it's also numbers that people talk about in
That's true.
running, like
yeah,
sub 4 marathon and then a sub 2 half marathon.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, so with that target in my mind, I really wanted to, because I believe that I can run a sub 2 hour half marathon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm gonna go in with the intention of I'm gonna try to get there. I think what's interesting with this too, like leading up to this race, I had done the triathlon earlier in the year, so I had been running for the first half of the year already because of that.
Yeah.
So then I also had a feeling like, okay, I can kind of. I basically went from triathlon training, had 1 week of like recovering after doing that race, straight into half marathon prep,
Yeah.
essentially. But I even think with that, like the 2-3 years before that, I had struggled so much with plantar fasciitis as well. So it was a little bit of a, I don't know, like, can I do this? Will my foot hold up? It did, thank God. But yeah, you know, like running has been a little bit of a nemesis to me lately. I feel like just because of that issue as well. So I just really wanted to push to get that sub 2 hour half marathon. And at the start of the training block, I definitely believed that I was capable of doing it. And then the longer the training block went on, I think I maybe realized that, oof, it's gonna be really difficult to get that on race day. And I kind of had the feeling that I could either just make it or I would just miss it.
Yeah.
So then a part of me was feeling a little discouraged because of that, kind of leading into like the last bit of the training. I didn't feel great because I felt like I wasn't hitting the numbers that I wanted to hit for the training. So that was kind of discouraging. You know, like you want to build that confidence, not go out every run and feel like you're not doing it.
Yeah.
So that also goes to show that something there wasn't right, whether that was me preparing for those training days or the running was too hard, you know. But besides that, you know, going into race day, then I was feeling kind of nervous and I was kind of struggling a little bit with, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to approach this? There was even a point where I told Sienna, I was like, will we just run it together?
And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because like I ran the half in
You did 209, 210?
2:10, I think.
It was something there anyway.
Like, and I know I didn't have any specific goals, but
Yeah.
just based off the training, I was thinking I would be around that.
Yeah.
Whereas Frida had her head set on the 2 hour mark, and I was like, I am not holding you back on this run.
Yeah. I think, you know, me even saying that was my self-doubt coming in and kind of being like, I could just run with you. Because that
Wanting
would
an
be...
out.
Yeah, because that would be slower than the pace that I was going to hold.
You know what we call that? Self-handicapping.
Yeah, kind of in a way. And I also feel kind of bad for even putting you in that spot. I'm sorry. Thank you for saying no. But anyway, and I don't know why I didn't have this conversation with you, but I had a conversation with a fella at the gym about half marathon because he was wondering, how are you feeling? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, and I kind of said exactly what I said now, that I probably will either just make it or I might not make it. And it will be very close. And then he just kind of goes, well, doesn't matter. Like, just run the pace for as long as you can, and then, like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah,
and I was like,
you'll either keep doing it or you'll go slightly slower.
And I think that was such a funny conversation, like, in my mind when I think back on it, because I'm like, duh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So I kind of had that moment when he was talking to me, and we were talking about this, and I was like, oh, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'll either do it or I won't, and regardless, I will have raced. Like, if I start let's say even just 5K and I'm holding this pace and then I fall off, well, clearly I wasn't prepared well enough, and I tried for as long as I could, and, you know, I slowed down, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then starting the race, I went in with the mindset that I am gonna run at this pace for as long as I can, and it's either gonna take me the whole way or it won't, basically.
Yeah.
So the first 5K felt brilliant. The second 5K felt great as well. And then right around, kind of at the same time that you talked about that hill, that basically 1K was past the halfway point. As I got past that point, I could just tell that, oh no, I am fading fast. And it was quite interesting too, because the first half of the half, I was repeatedly saying to myself, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. Keep pushing. Like, it's happening. We're
Mhm.
gonna do this, you know. And then I got to the point where I could tell that my legs just didn't have the fire to push, or like the energy.
Yeah.
Like, they felt weaker. And then my pace got slower and everything started to feel more difficult. And then I was like, oh, maybe I won't do it.
Mm.
And then I had one slow K that was slower than the pace. And then in my head I was doing the calculations. Okay, if I need to pick up this amount of seconds to be able to still do it. And then I had another slow K. Not for lack of trying. Like, I was trying, but I just didn't have any juice left in my legs at that point. So then I started to think to myself, instead of, getting really disappointed, I kind of accepted that I was like, okay, Frida, you have pushed so hard and you have given it your all until this point. Let's keep pushing with what you have right now, and wherever we finish, we finish. It's still gonna be right around that 2 hour mark, but it might not be a sub, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you have done the best that you can. And there was one point, my gosh, I felt like a snail. It felt like every single person and their mom was passing me. Like, I felt so slow at one point, and I significantly decreased for at least 1 or 2K. And then I kind of managed to pick up the pace a little bit. Finished strong, anyway. The last K was basically downhill, so that was lovely. And then I got to the finish line, and I finished it at 2:02:30 or something like that. I can't remember the exact seconds, but it was 2:02 anyway, so very, very close. But I was suffering. Like, that last K, so many people yelled my name and said, come on, Frida, because they could probably see that I was in pain running. Like, I don't remember the last time I was struggling so much trying to, like, race a race. I was suffering. And then I got past the finish line and I walked up towards the barriers or whatever, like, after we had gotten our medal, and I was just hanging over one of these barriers and I started crying. I've mentioned this before in this podcast, that my body's reaction to doing really difficult things is that it just wants to cry, which is so funny. It doesn't matter if I'm running or in the gym and I'm just, like, selling my soul, my body wants to cry. So that was happening there. I was, like, hanging over this barrier, hulking, just sobbing. And then this volunteer walked up and was like, I'm really sorry, but you have to keep going. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, I will. And then eventually you came as well, then not too long after me.
1 hour later.
Yeah, and we managed to find each other. But geez, both of us really pushed that race, alright? Because there was nothing left in my legs. I was exhausted.
Yeah, I was wrecked afterwards as well.
Mm.
It took... Yeah, the hardest part sometimes about running like that is, getting home afterwards. You have to, like, walk and, like...
Yeah,
you're
that's
so
true.
tired, you have to figure out where to go.
Yeah.
And oh
no, but that was a good race. It was a lovely day out. It was well, like, ran by the organizers and everything, so it was an overall great experience, I thought.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because obviously you had a goal
Mm.
and you were just short
Yeah.
of your goal.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of accept and move on and be okay with the effort you had? You said that, you knew that you did the best you could on that day.
Yeah.
So, like, how can you walk off finish the race feeling that even though you didn't reach your goal?
Well, I think there's a few things here. One, the thought beforehand, the acceptance of, I'm gonna do, like, the best that I can,
Mm-hmm.
and it's either gonna take me the whole way or it won't. And this race, I did exactly that, but it didn't get me the whole way, right?
Yeah.
But like I said already, like, I didn't have anything left to give. Like, I literally would have collapsed across that finish line. That's kind of what I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's nothing to be disappointed about because my effort was the absolute best effort I could possibly give.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to do that. And like, I know we're talking about 2:10 and 2:02, whatever, but, like, my last half marathon was 2:15
Yeah.
that I ran. So that's basically 12-13 minutes of an improvement, which is massive when it comes to long distance running like that. That's so much time to cut off. So regardless of the outcome, as long as I was faster than 2 hours and 15 minutes, I had a PB like.
Yeah.
So you can't be disappointed. I mean, I guess you can, but I'm not.
Mhm.
Reminding myself that I did the best that I could. I got a PB, you know? And I also think it goes to show that, sheesh, I'm close,
Yeah.
you know?
That's true.
Some more purposeful training and, like, you know, doing a little bit more, and, like, I will get there.
Yeah. I
You
think
know?
it's interesting though, because I think like that sometimes it can be easier in a context like running that is time based. It's you know, the winning is based on you versus you, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And your previous effort. Whereas like in a sport where you're competing directly against someone like handball, or a team sport like Gaelic football or hurling, a lot of the time people associate winning with literally winning the game, and like that is showing that, you know, we often maybe look past the performance.
Yeah.
And you just said there, well, obviously my performance improved a lot because I went from 2:15 to like 2:02. So we can see that in those numbers. Whereas it's harder to see that, you know, in sports where it's not based on those specific numbers and seconds. But like that's a really good mindset to take into like all sports.
Definitely.
Like even if I didn't achieve this outcome that I had in my mind that I just made up myself, you know, you can still be successful.
Yeah.
Like you improved by 13 minutes. Like that is hugely successful. But if you were to only look at, oh, I set the goal of, you know, a win for me would have been sub 2, and that was your only basis of success, then there was a lot higher chance that you would not be successful.
Bold of you to assume that my outcome was not to be the best runner out of 20,000 runners, but sure, whatever.
You're right. I mean, if we're talking about the top like 10 people, then yeah, maybe they also have the outcome of winning.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know.
But I do think it's interesting, and like thinking, how can we take this mindset into other competitive environments?
What's even more interesting with this, I think, as well, if you look at endurance races like this, such as the half or the full marathon, because there are so many people running, right? There's gonna be a very small percentage that are actually competing to win, whether that is age group or overall. And people are so hard on themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you literally set this goal for yourself, Frida, to run a sub 2 hour marathon, and like the only person that it affects really, if it happens or not, is myself, right?
Yeah.
And then the fact that I could have been so hard on myself, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I think running, that's something I enjoy about it, is kind of like the thought process that comes with it, and I feel like I've learned a lot about performance by running, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about running and all the benefits, and even just the mental, how it challenges you in a different way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting one.
But on that note,
Yeah.
we're still on the boat.
We're still on the boat. It's still going side to side. We're still laying down.
Yeah. We only have like 22 hours left, maybe?
Yeah, 22 hours. So now that we have all inspired a nation to go out to run, also remember to keep using the space in between.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya!